Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're going to discuss a significant event in Indo-Pacific security: the formation of a multinational naval force featuring 4 aircraft carriers from the United States, United Kingdom, and Japan, operating together in the Northern Philippine Sea. Why is this important for the Philippines? What does it mean for our security and for the region's geopolitics? Let's break it down. According to defense reports, on August 10, 2025, 4 carriers, comprising the USS George Washington, CVN-73, and the USS America, LHA-6 from the United States, the HMS Prince of Wales from the United Kingdom, and the JS Kaga from Japan, conducted joint naval operations in the Northern Philippine Sea, just east of Luzon. This operation is under Carrier Strike Group 25, which began deployment in April 2025 as part of the UK's Indo-Pacific strategy. Its broader aim: enhance interoperability, project power, and reinforce multilateral cooperation in the region. This wasn't just a courtesy call. It was a deliberate show of advanced naval power and alliance coordination, staged in one of the most strategically contested maritime areas in the world. The gathering of carriers from 3 nations, the United States, United Kingdom, and Japan, is a powerful diplomatic and military message. At its core, it's about projecting commitment to freedom of navigation, deterrence against aggression, and maintaining a rules-based international order in the Indo-Pacific. Naturally, this also has direct security implications for the Philippines, given our location and our ongoing disputes in the West Philippine Sea. Alongside the symbolic message, the joint F-35B Lightning II operations from multiple flight decks show just how integrated these militaries have become. The ability to operate F-35Bs from both the HMS Prince of Wales and JS Kaga, combined with the fixed-wing fighters and helicopters from the USS George Washington and the USS America's short takeoff/vertical landing aircraft, demonstrates a multinational strike capability that is difficult to counter. This level of integration shows not just the ability to operate together, but also the willingness to coordinate advanced air and naval power across vast distances. 1. Deterrence and strategic assurance. The presence of Allied carriers in nearby waters serves as a deterrent to aggressive maritime posturing, most notably from China in the West Philippine Sea. It signals that Allied nations are ready to back international law, UNCLOS, and maritime stability. For China, this show of force is a reminder that unilateral actions, like building artificial islands, militarizing reefs, or harassing Philippine vessels, won't go uncontested. 2. Reassurance to coastal communities. For many Filipinos, especially fishermen and residents in Palawan, Zambales, and coastal towns in northern Luzon, tensions in the South China Sea are a daily reality. Chinese Coast Guard and militia ships frequently harass them. Seeing Allied naval power operating nearby provides a sense of reassurance that the Philippines is not alone in defending its maritime rights. 3. Strengthening defense partnerships. This event underscores the importance of mutual defense arrangements, like the U.S.-Philippines Mutual Defense Treaty, 1951, and the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, EDCA, which allows U.S. forces access to Philippine bases. It also highlights growing defense ties with Japan and the UK, both of which have increased their naval visits and joint exercises with the Armed Forces of the Philippines, AFP. For example, in 2023, Japan and the Philippines signed a Reciprocal Access Agreement, RAA, allowing easier military cooperation and troop deployments between the 2 nations. Of course, while this show of force is impressive, there are also risks and challenges. 1. Vulnerability of carriers. Despite their capabilities, carriers are not invulnerable. Modern ballistic and hypersonic missiles, such as China's DF-21D carrier-killer missile, pose serious threats. Wargame simulations suggest that in a high-intensity conflict, carriers could be damaged or even sunk. For the Philippines, this means that while Allied deployments provide deterrence, they also introduce the risk of escalation if a confrontation happens nearby. 2. Sustainability and frequency. Deploying and maintaining carrier strike groups is extremely expensive. The question is not just whether these fleets can deploy in times of crisis, but whether they can sustain a long-term presence in the Indo-Pacific. For example, each U.S. carrier deployment costs millions of dollars per day in fuel, logistics, and personnel support. This means the Philippines cannot rely on their constant presence. We must also build our own capabilities. History shows that the Philippines has always been deeply affected by carrier operations. 1. for Southeast Asia. Vietnam has increased defense cooperation with the U.S., buying drones and upgrading naval bases. Singapore provides port access for U.S. Navy ships, though it remains cautious about open alignment. Malaysia and Indonesia remain wary of being drawn into great power rivalry, but quietly benefit from the stability provided by Allied presence. For ASEAN as a whole, the message is clear. Allied powers are serious about maintaining a balance of power in the region. So how should the Philippines respond? 1. Modernize the Philippine Navy and Coast Guard. The AFP Modernization Program, Horizon 3 to 2023-2028, already envisions acquiring submarines, corvettes, offshore patrol vessels, and land-based missile systems. Recent projects include acquisition of BrahMos supersonic missiles from India, with deliveries expected starting 2026. Planned purchase of submarines, with France and South Korea competing for the deal. Delivery of additional Jose Rizal-class frigates and offshore patrol vessels. These will boost deterrence and allow the Philippines to better secure its waters. 2. Improve maritime domain awareness. Investing in satellites, drones, and radar networks is critical to track activities in our EEZ. Japan and the US have both pledged assistance in this area. 3. Adopt anti-access/area denial A2AD systems. Instead of trying to match China's ship for ship, the Philippines can deploy mobile missile batteries, fast attack crafts, and drones across its islands to impose costs on any aggressor. What role should alliances play? Alliances provide capacity building, intelligence sharing, logistics support, and advanced training. Even if the Philippines cannot host massive fleets of its own, it can strengthen its defense posture by deepening partnerships. But at the same time, we must balance strategy with resources. Not all modernization should focus on large platforms. With our archipelagic geography, over 7,600 islands, the Philippines can adopt a distributed, agile defense strategy. In the end, the meeting of 4 carriers in the Northern Philippine Sea, including the USS George Washington, USS America, HMS Prince of Wales, and JS Kaga, is more than a military exercise. It is a strategic signal. It reflects an evolving security architecture in the Indo-Pacific, where like-minded nations are uniting to preserve maritime stability. It also positions the Philippines at the center of debates about the balance of power in the region. At the same time, it challenges us to think critically. How do we strengthen our own maritime posture? How do we ensure that alliances work to our advantage? And how do we prepare for a future where the regional balance of power is constantly shifting? If you found this discussion informative, please like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth analysis of defense and geopolitical